everybody, it is my... You know what, No, I'm not. You're allowed to know that I sometimes mess up. This is Richard Blyle, your all-time favorite... Oh, God, is he still alive? Experimental chef. Here I'm going to show you an old-time recipe of mine. This is called Chernobyl Chicken. I'm going to talk a little bit about Chernobyl as we make this and the history of it. Very few ingredients. I've been making this at least since 1995. At least. I was teaching it in Kettering at the time when I developed it. And here's the background. I love buffalo wings. I love them. But the problem is that it makes you sneeze. Buffalo wings are kind of not very hearty and they're a little expensive. Not a good meal. So I wanted to develop a recipe that tasted like buffaloes. Tastes like buffalo wings, not buffaloes. I've tasted buffaloes. They're not very good. Actually, buffalo meat is delicious if you want to know the truth. So this is my buffalo Chernobyl chicken. Let me see if I can't do this. Hey, that's going to work, I think. Okay, so you can see that. I've already done a lot of the prep work, so I'm just going to go ahead and my noodles are boiled. The noodles I use are no yolk noodles. They're supposed to be a little healthier, less cholesterol, but honestly, I like the flavor better. If you never tried them, try the no yolk noodle. Now, I don't actually use noodles. I use the no yolk dumplings, but the dumplings are really nothing more than just thick noodles. The way they make them. The way they make them. It's not really. And I'm going to use Frank's Red Hot sauce. This is... How much is this? This is 12 fluid ounces of Frank's Red Hot sauce. And we'll use a goodly amount of this. I'll just turn down my music. Okay, so here's everything's ready to be put together. How do you deal with draining noodles? Do you use a colander or do you just drain it right out of using a crooked lid? I use the crooked lid method. Yes, I usually end up losing a few noodles. Ancient Greeks, when they drank wine, used to give a tithing to the gods, which meant they would take a little bit of their wine, just a little bit, and pour it out onto the floor so the gods could have some. So the noodles I lose, I just think of it as a tithing to the gods. My favorite patron Greek goddess is Athena, who was kind of the goddess of war, but a little more than that. Ares was the god. Athena was kind of the goddess of mercy in battle and intelligence. So, since I drained that out, I'm going to take some of my Red Hot sauce. And by the way, you don't have to use Frank's Red Hot sauce. This is the original, and I love this. But nowadays, they make a lot of buffalo wing sauces that you can get at your grocery store in all kinds of flavors. And as it turns out, all of them work. So use your favorite. Take the lid off. I'm going to put just a little bit of Frank's Red Hot sauce right here on the noodles. Mix them up. Ooh, this is already stinging the old nostrils. Cover it, set it aside. I'll use that in a moment. For the wok. A wok is something you throw with a weapon. Get yourself some chili oil. Wok chili oil. Very hard to find in grocery stores. I found this in a specialty Chinese grocery store. Asian grocery store, I guess. Now, the beauty of the wok, because of its design, it concentrates the heat. I'm going to give that a minute and you really don't want to do this on high. Put it medium high. Now, back in the mid-80s, somewhere around 1985, there was a nuclear power plant in what was then part of the Soviet Union, now the former Soviet Union. But the power plant was in a region that is now Ukraine called Chernobyl. And it was the site of one of the worst nuclear power disasters in history with peaceful nuclear power. It went up. They did an emergency shutdown test. And the test went beautifully, worked well. After the test, they were firing it back up. Now, because of the Soviet Union and the way they worked, the government had put together a plan. By this amount of time, while bringing it back online, you should be producing this much electricity. And they were falling behind. Because they were falling behind, they started turning off safeties. And by the time the nuclear power plant went up, nearly all the safeties had been taken off. Resulted in a complete meltdown in Chernobyl. Irradiated most of the area, and they had to evacuate the area around Chernobyl. Before the Ukraine was invaded, they were just starting to let tourists back in, but only for very brief periods of time, 45 minutes to an hour. Now, I have chicken here. I've already diced it up. What I am using is 1 chicken breast and 2 chicken thighs. I've always liked the flavor of dark meat to light. I've always preferred dark meat. So what I'm going to do here, in that nice hot wok oil, I'm going to stir fry this. Now, when Russia invaded the Ukraine, they, without resistance, because Zelensky was smarter than Putin, they occupied the Chernobyl area. Well, Ukraine was still knew it was radioactive. They didn't have any troops there, many troops defending it. As a result, Russia pretty much walked into Chernobyl, and Putin decided to murder his own troops by posting them permanently in the nuclear power plant that was still radioactive. So nowadays, people know that if people know Ukraine, it's because of Putin's occupation of it. And I can pretty much guarantee you that all of those troops are going to get severely sick, and many of them will die. Come on now. All right. Now, this recipe has a legend to it. I had some friends at the college where I was teaching at the time. I was describing it to them, and they insisted that I let them try it. So I invited them to my then apartment. Would have been Ed and Tom. And as I was stir-frying it up in my wok, my spatula fell apart. I used to use my wok a lot. And that wok, unlike this one is from, Pampered Chef. This is Pampered Chef. The wok I used to use had a couple of rivets right here that held the head onto the stem. It just fell off. I was making the dinner and it just fell off. And because it is so hot, this recipe is so hot, that started the rumor that Chernobyl chicken dissolves metal. All right, that's pretty good. I am now going to remove my chicken from my wok. Turn the heat down a little bit. Down to medium low. Take the chicken out. Try not to burn my arm as I do it. Because basically you're made of meat too. It cooks. Oh, come on. I should have used a larger plate. This is kind of a cool stove. This black right here is a grill. Alright. And yes, it's clean. Now, I'm going to add, this surprises some people, cauliflower. Now, fresh cauliflower is better. I usually keep frozen cauliflower in the freezer so that I can use it when I'm ready for it. This cauliflower is old. It does not look very good. I tried a little piece. It's not the best. But just to show you how I make it, it's going to work. Basically, I think some of these pieces have freezer burn, and I like using more cauliflower than this anyway, so this is not enough cauliflower. With fresh cauliflower, you lose a lot of moisture, a lot of water. So you're going to want to drain off all that excess water or cook it off. In this case, I'm just going to warm up the cauliflower because it's pretty much already cooked. I'm going to add a little bit of my hot sauce to it. Well, this step usually takes longer because fresh cauliflower takes longer to cook. And I'm going to reintroduce my chicken. Mix it all together. And while I'm at it, let's add a little more hot sauce. Just like this. Now, if you think about it, Chernobyl, when it went up, was back in somewhere around 85, so we're talking 40 years. They estimated it will be radioactive for about 100 years. One of the radioactive isotopes that went up. Okay, and now I'm going to let it cook down. I'm going to thicken that sauce. I'm going to reduce it and make it coat the cauliflower and the chicken. I like cauliflower because the flavor it absorbs that flavor. It doesn't overwhelm it. If I use something like green beans or broccoli, I think the taste will be a little odd. But here, with cauliflower, it seems to work really well. Anyway, half-life doesn't mean that in 2 half-lives the radioisotope is gone. Half-life is the amount of time it takes for half of the concentration of the radioisotope to disappear. That means after 1 half-life, you've gone from 100% or whatever original amount of isotope you have, it'll reduce it down to 50%. In the second half-life, it doesn't go to 0. Only half of what remained is reduced. So in the second half-life, it goes from 50% to 25%. In 3 half-lives, it goes down to 12.5% of the original concentration. The radioisotope is never really gone. The best you can hope for, wow, is my nose running. The best you can hope for is to get down to a non-toxic level of isotope. Oh, look at that. Does that look good to you? Man, I am so excited about this. This is kind of a celebratory dinner. Tomorrow, on February 28th, I am celebrating a dubious anniversary because 12 years ago, and this is 2024, so if you're watching this 30 years from now, it would have been more. 12 years ago, I had my triple bypass surgery. I was 48 at the time. I wasn't even 50 years old yet, and my heart crapped out. And believe me, not everyone is happy that I survived. And in the hospital, while I was anticipating my open heart surgery, because they tried angioplasty and it failed, I got to thinking to myself, I need to think of a joke that I can say when I wake up. Because if I just wake up and say I'm fine, my friends who were there would know something is wrong. So I thought about it. And what's amazing is not only did I come up with the joke to use, I want to turn this down a wee bit more, I remembered it. The first words that came through my mouth on waking up in the ER were those words. Now we're going to take these noodles that we've already added a little bit of hot sauce to, plop them right in there. Let's add a little more hot sauce. Oh, look at that. I accidentally used all of it. First memory I have coming out of the anesthesia. I opened up my eyes. I looked at my friend. And I said, did I have a boy or a girl? And I passed right back out again. But I want to thank my friend who called me when I first started this video because her timing was perfect. I started this video way too early and we would have had about 20 minutes of watching me just prep, like boiling water and cutting chicken and all that. But that is my Chernobyl chicken recipe. Like I said, feel free to use whatever sauce you want. It's a single dish. It's not a single pot because you still have to boil those noodles. But that's it for me. Hope you had fun. Hope you learned a lot. I will see you later, and I am out of here.